Rick Ross vs. Birdman beef explained. Are you a Maybach music man or a Cash Money fan? No matter where you stand, you should know about the ongoing battle between two of the biggest rap moguls today. The never-ending beef between Birdman and Rick Ross. We'll tell you who fired up this beef, why it happened, and who pulled the most passive-aggressive stunt in this war below. The story behind Rick Ross and Birdman, from fans to friends. It has been a long time since Birdman and Rick Ross spoke on amicable terms, so these two bosses being friends would come as a shock to most. Those who have been in the rap game for a few decades know how their relationship started. Ross and Baby were good friends more than a decade ago. In fact, they recorded and released The H, a joint project from both. That collaborative streak went on for a long time. The Maybach Music and Cash Money camp released a lot of music together through the late 2000s and early 2010s, but that soon came to an end. From friends to enemies. Things turned sour when Rick Ross threw the first shot at Birdman. People think Baby started the beef, but it's the other way around. And we have Drake and Meek Mill to blame for that. In the song called Color Money, Meek Mill takes several shots at Drake, something that sparked a short-lived war that Drizzy finished with a devastating blow called Back to Back. And Ross, for some reason, decided to send subliminal shots at Birdman in that song. The 5-star stunner didn't take that nicely, and after his beef with Lil Wayne started, when Rose sided with Weezy, his long-lasting relationship with Rick Ross took a finishing turn. 4 times the 5-star stunner threw shots at Ross, telling him to wean off Lil Wayne. Most believe the beef started when Lil Wayne threatened to break with Cash Money and take his Young Money camp elsewhere, but that's not true. Ross threw the first stone. Nevertheless, the beef between Rose and Baby became a small-scale war when Rick Ross publicly sided with Lil Wayne after the Young Money president asked for his money. That was the point of no return for both these moguls. Birdman recorded a video telling everyone, Rick Ross explicitly included, to stay away from his business and to not talk about his son, Lil Wayne. Other rappers, like Pusha T, pushed a few buttons in the song Exodus 23 verse 1, which prompted similar reactions. Brushing off the beef and diss tracks. If you're a Maybach music man, you know about idols become rivals. It's the quintessential diss track in this beef. Rick Ross spends a little over 6 minutes talking trash against Birdman and showing love for Lil Wayne, and almost everyone paid attention to every line here. There is one exception, Birdman. He never responded nor cared too much about that song. In fact, he briefly talked about it in an interview where he explained he didn't care about that or anything other than cash. Baby wants to become a billionaire, and beefing with other rappers apparently pays him no money. In a way, that's simply saying Rick Ross isn't as important, which is a cool way of dissing someone from the highest horse in the world. Several shots on social media. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, rappers put their words on wax when beefing with someone. During the early 2000s, artists switched it up and went on the radio to talk about their issues with other people. Nowadays, most take their struggles to social media and live videos on Instagram, and Birdman is no exception. During the height of the Lil Wayne situation, Birdman recorded an 11-minute video where he explained how everyone was beneath him. There was no beef with his son, Wayne, and everyone should mind their own business. While naming no names, most believe there were several subliminal shots aimed at Ross on that long-winded rant. There were other occasions where Birdman slipped a jab here and there, online and during interviews, calling him a copycat. Birdman and Rick Ross took most shots against each other throughout 2015 and 2017, but something happened in 2022 that sparked what seemed to be a settled matter. During an interview with DJ Academics, Birdman brought a long list of artists who he apparently helped come up. He briefly talked about people like Future, DJ Khaled, and Yo Gotti, and after that, he named Ross and took a little more time when talking about him. In so many words, the five-star stunner accused Ross of stalking and stealing his style. Ross apparently bid his time while coming up under Birdman to steal parts of his persona. After saying that, he had no more nice words for Ross and moved on to other topics. Is Rick Ross friends with Lil Wayne? Rick Ross and Lil Wayne are close friends. Their constant collaboration throughout different music projects is proof of that. At the same time, Rosé siding with Weezy during the problematic era of YMCMB is also a consequence of their friendship. That close relationship was one of the issues that fired up the beef between the bosses of Maybach Music and Cash Money, respectively. Even though Lil Wayne reconciled with Birdman after many issues, a legal battle, and Young Money's release from Cash Money, there's no sign Rick Ross buried the axe with Baby, even if Lil Wayne is now friends with both Birdman and the Teflon Don just the same. 3 times the Teflon Don fired back at Birdman. When idols become rivals. One of the turning points between Birdman and Rick Ross is the diss track Idols Become Rivals, which is Ross's straightforward way of rebranding his relationship with his former friend. We're talking about a 6-minute diss track where Ross explains how much he admired Birdman and how disappointed he was when he realized everything that glitters isn't gold. Fake watches, leased cars, and debts were the foundation of Baby's apparently lavish lifestyle. That's not all. Rick Ross also claimed Birdman backstabbed most people he worked with so he could take their money and run. The Maybach music mogul brought Chris Rock to appear on the song, so you know he brought every big gun he could think of. Maybach's many shots against Cash Money. If you think one diss track was Rick Rosé's only offense against the Cash Money camp, you need to think again. Several Maybach music artists took shot at Cash Money, including Meek Mill doing his thing at Drake. Although that one hilariously misfired, that didn't prevent Rick Ross from dissing Birdman on more than one occasion. The Teflon Don had commented on Birdman's relationship with Lil Wayne, and he also talked about how Tyga escaped Cash Money. It's always about money and how Birdman doesn't pay his dues. The Rosé move. This one is probably the biggest passive-aggressive shot in hip-hop's history. In 2016, Birdman became the protagonist of an iconic moment in The Breakfast Club. He made an appearance to do a 1-hour-long interview that only lasted a couple of minutes. He went in, sat down, demanded respect, and left. None of the 3 hosts knew what happened until it was hilariously over. A few days later, Rick Ross decided it was time to send one of the most subliminal shots of all time. He sent a bottle of Luc Belaire Rosé, a brand of champagne that partnered with Ross a long time ago, to Charlemagne, one of the hosts of The Breakfast Club. It was a thank you note for standing up to Birdman. What happened between Birdman and DJ Khaled? DJ Khaled worked for Birdman for a long time, and that relationship didn't end well. We don't know many details of the many deals Birdman allegedly forced on Khaled, but one thing is for sure, the Cash Money mogul didn't pay Khaled full price for his work. At least, that's what Rick Ross claims on Idols Become Rivals. In stark contrast, DJ Khaled prefers to maintain a positive attitude about it all. In a 2017 interview, Khaled explained he has nothing but love for Birdman, no matter what happened in the past. Nevertheless, he never denied the many allegations that Rick Ross made in his diss track. Are Rick Ross and Birdman still beefing? Rick Ross and Birdman haven't settled their differences so far. Birdman threw shots at Rick Ross in early 2022, even though Rick Ross hasn't replied yet. we can assume it's only a matter of time. One would assume these two rap game bosses would reconcile after Birdman buried the hatchet with his adoptive son, Lil Wayne. Nevertheless, Lil Wayne remained close with Rick Ross and became friends with Birdman again, but Birdman and Rick Ross didn't share that same sentiment for each other. So, simply put, the beef is at a standstill. But even though these two legends are not actively throwing shots at each other, the war is far from over.